YouTube link.
All right, we are back yet again, twice within the past 5 minutes with the Super Deformed Gamescast. We were having some video issues earlier, but we've got those all worked out. I'm not going to do introductions again because everybody's here. Anybody watching can see down in the video who's here and who's not, and that's fine with me. Oh, look at that! I can see the video on YouTube, so we're back. There we go. So anyway, guys, Mike Mullins and Broken Games HD, two of our guests tonight. Mike, for anybody who doesn't know what your podcast is all about, go ahead and let them know.
All right, we are the original Next Level Gaming. Our podcast is on 10 p.m. Friday nights. It's myself and Sean Foster co-hosting. We are the two originators of Next Level Gaming from the 2000s, our popular website. Now we're trying to relive the glory days. And thanks for having us on. Thanks for having me on tonight, man.
We're thrilled to have you, man. And
thanks for coming on. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, dude. This is your first time on the podcast, so hopefully we don't chase you away.
You've been on mine, so I'm prepared.
I'm a sweetheart, man. You know that.
Yeah.
And BG, you need no introduction, but if you want to take just 10 seconds to tell people in chat who you are, in case they may not know, they probably do, but fuck it, go ahead anyway.
Yeah, so Broken Games HD, most people call me BG. Do gameplay, reviews, and live comms, everything like that on my channel. And the Weapon Wheel podcast, which is Saturdays at 6 p.m. The Weapon Wheel podcast, if any of you seen it, that gets really, crazy because it's like me and my members are like just a bunch of friends acting like we're at a bar arguing about video games. So, we're very, confrontal with each other, in that podcast. And then I do another podcast, the Gaming Assembly, with, a couple of these guys, Mike and John, and that's the calmer side, and people have said they like the two opposites. Is the best of both worlds. So yeah,
we got some great feedback on that podcast, and the two of you, I mean, John, you kind of suggested it, and BG, you got it together, and it's actually the two of you, that made me a whole new set of friends. So I appreciate that on many levels.
Friends.
All right, well,
I don't know about friends, but
I'll go acquaintances.
Yeah,
that's better. Yeah, no, that works for me. I'm just kidding, man. No, hopefully next time it won't be me though. Hopefully next time it'll be one of my Super Deformed Gamescast patriots. And I want to point out we are neither super nor deformed. So thanks a lot, you two, for joining us. There's a lot to talk about. It's been a very interesting week. Not a whole lot of news stories, but a lot of really cool shit has happened. A lot of really interesting shit has happened. But before we get into that, as always, I want to start off with what everybody's playing. And I'll go first, real quick. I'm still fucking balls deep in the Witness. I've got 7 lasers activated. I'm going to platinum that fucking game, just like I said I would. I haven't used the guide. I'm having to take a break because I feel like my brain is coming out of my ears now, that fucking game. I'm doing PowerPoints at work, and all I see is puzzles from Jonathan Blow taunting me. So I downloaded Gravity Rush Remastered, and that game is fucking outstanding. Let me just go ahead and throw it out.
It's really
fucking good. It is probably the most impressive remaster I've ever seen. I'm speaking strictly from the fact that it used to be a Vita game. This game was on Vita, and now it's on PS4, and it looks fucking incredible. Blue Point are a bunch of fucking sorcerers with this shit. I don't know how they do it. But that's kind of what I'm playing.
People, yeah.
Dude,
Every time. That Xbox 360 port of Titanfall, how you scrunch that into a 360 game, that's stuff like that is what makes
They did that one too?
Yeah, no, it's sorcery.
Yeah, they are the go-to. If you want your game remastered, they are go-to.
Yep.
By far, yeah, by far. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah,
didn't they remaster Last of Us?
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
No,
they did Uncharted.
Uncharted.
Yeah, it was Uncharted, and they did a
collection.
They did it. You were right.
Good job with that,
Phenomenal
too.
job.
I would love to see what Blue Point could do with like an actual original IP. Like,
I've been thinking that for a while too.
Yeah.
They would have to step up.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's obvious they've got the talent in-house to put together a very pretty game.
Yeah, they're a tech studio.
Exactly. Whether or not they can cobble together something with a coherent narrative is another story altogether. But
they just need a creative team. That's all.
Yeah. No, I agree. But Brandon, real quick, what are you playing this week, man?
Gravity Rush. I'm more than halfway through Gravity Rush.
Good man.
And loving it. It's absolutely great. Great port, great game.
Great traversal mechanics too.
maybe the best of any open world game.
Yeah, I agree.
Top three at least of any open
I'm
world.
I'm right there with you.
But and then on top of that, the PS4 port of Crypt of the Necrodancer is finally out. So yeah,
I
I've
need
been
to,
digging into that pretty hard.
I'm gonna download that this weekend.
It's really good.
Gabe, you're on the spot. What are you playing, buddy?
Well, I just started playing Gravity Rush Remastered 2. Need for Speed. I'm starting again because I played it before on with the EA Access trial. Now I'm starting again on the PS4. I bought it in sale. You see, I'm playing Shin Megami Tensei 4 on the 3DS.
Nice.
I love Shin Megami.
Gabe, how the hell do you have time to play these games from your fucking chairman's office there, man? Reading TPS reports and firing people.
Time?
How do you do that?
No, they have more time than more money than time to spend.
You must be a time management wizard, man. That's impressive.
Oh man.
Don't fire me. Don't fire me, Gabe.
I mean, it's just priority. You know, sometimes I prioritize games on the Xbox One, and later on the PS4. I just keep, you know.
I don't know, man. These sound like first
from console to console, you know. Because I have a PS4, an Xbox One, a Wii U, a PS Vita, and a 3DS.
Ooh.
So, yeah, it's hard to play, you know.
Yeah, I know. These are
I'm not bragging.
Gabe, I don't want to hear. Gabe, I don't want to hear any more about your first world problems. I got too many video games to play. Okay.
Man,
Gabe has too many games. I wish, Gabe.
It's not my fault you're married, man. I mean, just saying.
Gabe, I wish my biggest problem was that I had too many fucking games to play. Get out of here, Gabe. Get out of here, Gabe. All right. You know what? I don't want to hear any more about games. There's too many games to play. BG, what are you playing this week, man?
Right now, I for this new year, I haven't played any new game yet because and I did want to play Gravity Rush Remastered, but I'm prioritizing now because before I had this thing where I felt like I had to, like I really wanted to play like every major game that came out, especially the ones that interest me, but I just killed that habit quick. So now I make a list of what games I'm like skipping and what games I'm gonna get. So right now I'm just trying to platinum The Last of Us on PS4. But tonight my life ends when XCOM 2 comes out, and I'm a big XCOM guy.
Ooh, shit. That's a good choice, dude. I want to ask you about that. Do you guys, real quick before we get to Mike, do you guys think we'll see a console port for XCOM 2?
I do. I think the reason why the reason why they said they were going to put it on PC, make it a PC exclusive, was because they knew if they were working on consoles too, they couldn't make the game they wanted it to be, and release it in February. So I think afterwards, because I'm sure the game is going to make plenty of money.
Oh yeah.
So afterwards, they can okay, we're probably gonna have to nerf some things for the console version, but at least we got the PC version out first. Now we can concentrate on the console. So I think they're gonna go get after that extra money.
Yeah,
I mean the budget isn't very high. Seems like low marketing cost, low development cost, and then it's gonna sell based on word of mouth and review scores.
Well, it's reviewing very well too. It's getting great. It's getting great, and visually, it's such a step up from XCOM. Like it does visually. Really good. Yeah, no, dude, for RTS, it looks really fucking good. All right, Mike. Mike, what are you playing, dude? Sorry. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a good point. All right, Mike, what are you playing?
Let's see. Tonight, I'm going to dip into Unravel. I want to check that game out. I got the EA Access trial, so. That, and I'm actually not playing much new yet either. I was going to go back and try to get that second chapter of King's Quest in, and I've also been things have been kind of busy, over here in real life land, Gabe, with kids and jobs and stuff. But yeah, right now it's going to be Unravel. I actually just bought Rise. It was on sale for $15. I couldn't pass that up, so I might dip into that a bit. And then, I mean, it's march on towards the Division.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's coming out next month, isn't it? Yeah. No, we've had several conversations about our thoughts on the beta, and they go from here all the way down to here. So
Yeah, we're gonna do our Division thoughts tomorrow, since most everybody who's gonna be on tomorrow has played it.
So there's a few things that happened this week before I get into a topic that I wanted to bring up with Mike. And once again, thanks to Gabe for putting together some news that happened this week. And I want to start off which with what is, and I was kind of battling. I had an internal battle over what to start with. But my favorite story this week was Destiny players received an email from Bungie this week. Now, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but it was a survey, and the survey asked one question: how would you rate your most recent experience in Destiny? Very fun, somewhat fun, or not fun? And I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking to myself, man, like. So here's the actual story. Like it says, and this is from VG247.com. I don't really visit these guys a lot, but it says it's a pretty telling question when a game has fallen out of favor with its ravenous fan base. With no new updates and disinterest for upcoming events, Destiny is currently in limbo. The Division is getting all the attention when it comes to shareable shooters. Players received an email from Bungie this morning. Just the one question, asking for a very basic answer.
That's pretty fucking hilarious.
Are you still having fun? And that is the only question that was in the fucking email. And it was there were three options: yes,
Wow.
no, or maybe. So
Are you still having fun?
So let's talk. So I don't know. I kind of want to unpack this for a minute. So we already know that the model for Destiny this year is going to be smaller events. There's apparently, according to Bungie, there's going to be no big paid DLC. And if you believe that story that Kotaku wrote about a few weeks ago, they don't have a clear plan for Destiny going forward this year. We're not going to get Destiny 2, as was the original plan, and you've got the Division on the horizon. And this email sounds to me like Bungie is maybe starting to slide into panic mode.
Well, and their CEO dropped. Their CEO stepped down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're replacing their CEO.
All right. Well, I want to throw this out to the group then. Like, what do you? I mean, an email like this, I've never seen anything like this before. This reeks of desperation.
Yeah, it's pretty desperate. That's the word for it.
It really is. And in fact, I mean, if you look at if you look at the big Destiny Reddit, I mean, the salt is unfucking believable. People are still playing the game, but they are getting wearier and wearier of a lack of content from Bungie. And the Taken King was kind of the shot in the arm the game needed, and I had high hopes for it after that, but it has just completely fallen off a cliff at this point. So I wanted to throw it out to you guys. What do you think? Where do you think Destiny's going to be a year from now? Let's look at the launch of the Division, which there's a lot of hype around it. Let's look at the fact that we have no idea. Bungie apparently doesn't have a roadmap for the game itself. Where do you guys think Destiny's going to be a year from now? Go.
I guess. I mean, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not a fan of Destiny whatsoever. I think everybody knows that.
Neither am I. Nope.
And I haven't played it either. I played the beta and then.
So none of us except John care about it this
week.
I
don't
think
even really care that much anymore, to be honest with you.
Well, you were the one who cared the most.
I care the most. You're right.
Yeah. I think they were kind of just. Trying to go with the game on the fly. They didn't really have a clear direction. And I guess the Taken King gave people a little bit more content, but look how long it took them to make that. And I don't know how much more content the Taken King was, but look how long it took them to give people that. And they wanted this game to have a pretty long life, but for me, it died off pretty quick because I felt like it got repetitive in the first few weeks, and there wasn't that much to do. So I knew it was only a matter of time before even the diehard fans who liked the game started to feel like that. And Destiny was a very popular game. A lot of people logged a lot of hours. It became very popular on Twitch. But people will just as quickly move over to the next game that's just like Destiny, and that could be the Division. And that's probably what they might be worried about is that player count just significantly dropping. So I mean, I don't see it being hugely popular after the next few months, especially since there's so much more games coming out. I think February, March, you're going to see that game like really fall off. Even if they were to release more content soon, there's too many other games.
Do we have an idea of what the metrics are for the like kind of the remaining player base for Destiny across all platforms? Is there a way to track that like people track EA servers?
I don't
know. I know they had announced. I think Bungie themselves announced the amount of hours before, but I don't know if there's another third-party source where we could track it. It probably is. I don't know.
There is a site called Destiny Tracker, but I don't know if that gives I mean, that kind of gives some leaderboards and stuff, but I don't know if it gives a player base. So I kind of agree with BG in the fact that, and I think this is just from experience. I don't think this is exclusive to Destiny. I think all games have a shelf life, have a fatigue level, and I think Destiny is one of these games that they're trying to do. They're trying to extend it longer than it probably a normal game should. And
Yeah,
I remember back
they got to
when,
sell those emotes.
well, right. I remember back when Insomniac was talking about Sunset Overdrive. And do you remember what they had said when they were trying to sell that game? That they were going to have weekly content, and the world was going to change, and they were going to do all these great things.
That was
And
back in the day, but I mean, Destiny back in the day, like before it was released, it was a whole like they sliced it up and changed it right before it came out, right? Like it was a different beast. It had a different story. It had a. I remember
I
hearing
don't
stories.
remember. I don't. I know they changed. I know they changed. Like they took the Dinklage out for Ghost for Taken King and some stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, I had always felt like when I played the beta, I played the game, and I think playing the beta ruined it for me. And everybody kept telling me, "No, man, there's more to the game than that. There's more to the game than that." But the more I've watched of it, the kind of less I feel like that. So I never really got into it. But I think that every game's and I've heard people say, "Well, the division's going to cut into Destiny's player base, and
Yeah, I think it
Bungie is
will.
really afraid of." But here's the thing about the division too: they are going to have the same problem 6, 8, 9, 12 months from now when the next game comes out. That's why I think Destiny, as you see it now, next year people are going to be Activision's. First off, Activision's not letting go of this beast, so you're going to see Destiny 2 next year, and I think you're going to see Destiny as this game is kind of just drop off as they push towards their sequel. And the division, like I said, they're going to have to support that post launch, and they're going to come across that same fatigue. People eventually are just going to stop playing it because it's the same thing over and over, no matter what you do.
Well, Brandon was kind of prophetic in the sense that when we first started doing the podcast, one of our topics of conversation was it was the first or second podcast. We talked about the state of Destiny after the Taken King, and Brandon was the one guy who said, I remember this. I rewatched it a couple weeks ago. He said no, the game's going to go downhill in about a year. He said Bungie's going to run out of shit to do, and it's all going to go downhill. And it's looking, Brandon, I got to tell you, it's looking more and more like you may have been onto something, man. I mean, I hesitate. I don't know if I'm willing to say it's going to die in a year, but it's certainly.
No, it'll pick right back up when Destiny 2 gets announced or whatever.
No, sure, but
the next $60 thing that they want you to buy.
I also think a lot of that's going to depend on whether or not you'll be able to run with the same character or not. Because people, I know I won't want to start over a new.
If you cannot keep your Destiny Day 1 character throughout the end of Destiny, they fucked up hard.
I would say that. Well, I mean, but
that's kind of like the entire fucking point.
Well, I was going to say, dude.
That's what they sold it on.
Yeah.
But it's not outside the realm of possibility to think something like that is possible because I mean, dude, when the beta came out, it was great, and then you find out that you played 25%, you played a quarter of the game in the beta. I mean, there was more. I mean, there was no fucking. I mean, the game had no fucking content when it came out, and you had the Cryptarch turning purple engrams into blue and green items, and you had the stupid light level system, and it seems like and that is a trend I've noticed with Destiny. Every time they do something, fans complain about it, they bitch about it, and then it gets changed. It's like they can't do anything right the first time. Nothing about Destiny since its launch they have been able to get right the first time. And from a developer like Bungie, I know, right?
My favorite pet developer.
I don't know where the fuck that came from, but from a developer like Bungie, that is really surprising because they've got a high pedigree.
It's not the same Bungie.
It's right, and it's also not the same type of game that they've made before. This isn't Halo. These aren't episodic, single, instance games. This is a game that they were trying to evolve. I'm sorry, Brandon. Go ahead. I think you were trying to.
Yeah, like my only little point is just that most of the people who are making the Halo 1 and 2 aren't with the developer anymore. It's new people get brought in.
Right.
They've expanded so much since even like Halo 3.
The head of Bungie Right, the head of Bungie is at 343i. I mean, the guy who who created Bungie, he's not with them. And I
Exactly.
can't stop staring at your Grand Theft Auto 5 poster. I just want you to know.
That is
I
a
think it
pretty
came with
sweet
That is
poster, dude.
that is beast.
That is nice. That is nice. All right, fucking enough about Destiny. I'm already tired of talking about Destiny. Let's move on to our next. This isn't so much a news story; it is just something I want to point out because it makes me happy. The Witness has sold 100,000 copies. This is from GameSpot. The Witness has sold substantially more, actually, so substantially more than 100,000 copies across PS4 and PC in its first week, generating more than $5 million in revenue. We don't know if the PS4 or PC version is selling better, as Jonathan Blow said he signed an agreement saying he would not disclose unit sales by platform. However, he did say sales of both platforms are strong, and no one platform is dominating the other when it comes to sales. And apparently there's also an Xbox One version in consideration, which, considering they've already rated it for the Xbox One, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Nope, will never come out.
I think it will. I think it will.
Jonathan Blow has a major problem with Microsoft, and he has for years.
Yeah, but you know what?
I think that's.
But he likes money.
He likes money. That was my point. He likes money. Everybody likes money. It's going to come out. And at the rate it's selling, dude, like Xbox, like Microsoft is going to want it. And this is as far as indies
I don't doubt at all they want it, but it's.
He'll give it to them. He'll give it to them. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I can guarantee you The Witness will come out on Xbox One. I mean, hell, it's coming out on tablets. It's going to come out on Xbox One.
He did also say that even though it sold that much on PS4 or PC or whatever it was, that it didn't recoup the cost yet that it cost to make it. So he's hoping it sells more.
Yeah,
we've got pirates out there that are ruining as they usually do.
Well, I remember reading last week that it was the #1 game on torrent. I don't know if it still is or not. But that's a valid concern. And somebody in the chat, the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, never heard of it, but I'm going to check it out now.
Enrique. You're welcome.
Is that Enrique? Oh, that is Enrique. Oh shit,
that's Enrique.
Enrique's a good guy. I didn't recognize the name for a minute. He says it's coming to Xbox, and I tend to agree. I think
say no, but we'll see. Hey, you know what? I can always come back on here and bow down to you and say you were right.
So, you're going to bow down to me.
Right.
So, my favorite movie. This is great. So, Doom is coming on May 13th, sooner than I thought it would.
Yes.
It's going to have that. If anybody on this podcast or in the chat has not seen that trailer, I advise you as soon as we're done here, don't leave the podcast. But as soon as we're done here, go watch that trailer because it is a fucking beast.
I was all about it. I enjoyed every second of it, every minute of it. Those melee.
Oh my God!
That's fine. Give it to me. I don't care. I'm willing to accept.
And there were some hints. There were some hints of that old school 1990s Doom that just made me feel like a kid again.
Dude, drunk Alcoholic using the chat on Twitter. He said that trailer was metal as fuck. And that is the
Caco
best
demon eats
possible.
an imp.
Yeah, I mean, I love
It's
it.
awesome.
I absolutely fucking love it. I would love to see a return to form for id. And it looks like this is gonna be. I love the gore. I love the action. I love these melee kills, like Brandon pointed out. BG, have you seen the trailer for this?
Yeah, I've seen it. I'm glad, because in the industry right now where it's so saturated with first-person shooters, it is becoming increasingly difficult to stand out in your first-person shooter, regardless of what it is. But Doom definitely looks like they're doing everything they can to just be different and just spice up the genre that's pretty stale. I probably won't be getting it at launch, but I'll definitely pick it up further down the line, only because, like I said, I have to, really pick what games I'm getting now. So, and that month, I'm like looking more towards Mirror's Edge, and yeah, Mirror's Edge looks crazy to me, and I'm getting Uncharted comes out right before it, so I know I'm going to be busy with those two games, and then I'll get Doom a little bit later.
God, there's so many fucking games coming out.
I know.
Oh my God, I had put on Twitter just the other day. I said this is just February, so you had The Witness, Gravity Rush remastered, Street Fighter V, Firewatch, which I'm very excited about. Fucking Unravel comes out next week. I just got reminded of that. I was like, stop, video games, stop it.
Yarny is going to die at the end. He's going to unravel into a ball of nothing.
Dude,
it's going to. That's the ending, man. It's going to. And you're going to cry.
I didn't even consider that until you just said it. Now I'm really sad.
I've said it before. And
Yeah, because makes sense.
That's fucking awful. But no, dude, seriously, there are so many. And then, shit, next month you got The Division, and then you got fucking Dark Souls 3, and then Uncharted 4, and now Doom. Mirror's Edge. I don't know what to do. I can't play. I'm gonna have the same problem Gabe has. I'm gonna have so many video games. I'm not gonna know what to do with them.
Gotta pick them and skip them.
Yeah, you gotta prioritize.
The fact that this is id Software is why I'm putting this at the top. I mean, this just it just made me feel like I was playing on my old PC again, and you know, the only thing I hope they don't do is go back to linear levels. That's all. I just don't do that. But other than that, and I'm glad that Bethesda is letting id Software do their thing, because I mean, it really is vintage for them. I am surprised that they announced a date so quick, because usually they're the ones.
I'm good with it.
They're the ones that say it'll be out when it's ready.
No, but this is good. But this is good. I'm glad we're getting a release date that's a few months away as opposed to like 2 fucking
Doom
years
is
away.
coming out in May, and then you still have that Bethesda event at E3. So they have to have something cool to fucking show.
We're gonna talk about that in just a minute. Although I will say this, id Software, as excited as I am about Doom, they're putting that game in this fucking box.
Yeah.
And and that's all I'm going to say about that. I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, box art is box art. But if you took that, if you took the name Doom off of that, I'd have been like, man, I can't believe they're making Crysis 4. So
that's exactly what I said.
I am quite sure when all is said and done, Tim Willits is going to make a box art that doesn't look like that.
Yeah, I'm actually. He absolutely will. Okay, so moving on from Doom. So let's actually, you know what? Somebody raised. It was Brandon who talked about the Bethesda presser at E3. Let's talk about that for a minute. And we had actually raised this issue the other week. About pressers and maybe the slow demise of E3 as its own entity. But I mean, so they're going to announce something big. You know it. It's whatever it is. They're either going to announce one really big game or a bunch of games that people have been wanting for a long time.
There's definitely going to be some Fallout 4 DLC.
Oh, I guarantee it. I guarantee.
Yeah. Not Elder Scrolls 6. That's crazy town.
I want to believe.
Just put Skyrim on the backward compatibility list. I'll be happy.
No, but here's my question. What about Elder Scrolls 5 Remastered?
No.
I would not put it past. No, I would not put it past them. I would not. But I would really love to see another Elder Scrolls game. I'm not sure we're going to get it. However, somebody in the chat said Evil Within 2, and I think that's a lock. I think you're going to see Evil Within 2.
Or the next game from Tango. Could be.
Yeah. It could be any game, but I think it's going to be Evil. I think it's going to be the Evil Within.
Could be the new Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein, the newer order.
That's another good one.
Wolfenstein.
I would raise my arms in praise if they.
I'd fall out of my chair.
Yep.
Oh my God! Can you imagine like all these old school shooters coming back? Like we get Doom, and then if they announced another Wolfenstein, I don't know.
Back it up right there with Wolfenstein.
I don't even know. I don't know how I handle that.
It's like I'm 9 years old again.
Right.
Yeah.
Return to Wolfenstein.
What other
Wait a minute, you were 9 when you played that? Good God, I'm old.
I was born in '85, man. So
Oh my God, I'm old.
He's young.
Oh my God!
Don't let this gray in the beard fool you. I'm actually younger than you think I am.
Good grief!
But yeah, so
the first Doom. In
was that?
1994.
Yo, Gabe, you're a baby, man. Don't even.
Stop!
His face.
You don't even have any facial hair. Stop.
Yeah, Gabe.
Hey man, that's the genetic fault.
Baby.
Do you have a Sony PSP?
I had one.
I have one.
All right, good. Okay, well, John, I know you do.
Yes, I have one.
He looks too young to even have that.
So somebody in chat raised a really good point. We haven't really, Dishonored 2 is coming this year from Bethesda, so I guarantee that'll be it. And I love
Prey 2. Also Prey 2, right?
Prey 2.
Nope.
No.
Prey is dead.
Yeah, Prey.
Prey is
Prey?
dead.
Yeah, no, wait.
Prey.
What's Arcane Austin working on?
Prey 2.
No,
I have no idea.
Pete Hines put a kibosh on that.
All Pete Hines does is lie. He's a professional liar. All he does is go.
Leave my man Pete alone.
I
Pete-
like Pete. I like Pete, but all he does
Pete
is
and I go back a long way. Don't mess with my man Pete.
I don't know, Gabe. If you could pick one game for Bethesda announced at E3 this year, what would it be? Or not at E3, I guess at their own presser, but
I don't know.
because you were like 3 when the Elder Scrolls came out, when Skyrim came out, so you know.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's hard, man, because I don't know. Maybe they'll, like you said, maybe within 2, or maybe I don't know, man.
Gabe doesn't know because he's too young. Gabe's like, man, my first console was a PS4. Come on, guys. I'm the baby. I don't know. I'm just giving you a hard time, man. BG, do you got any predictions for Bethesda's E3 presser, man?
I don't know if it's too soon, but I want to see another Evil Within.
That's what I want.
Yeah, I love the first one.
Yeah, that was the return. That was what Resident Evil 6 should have been.
Exactly. I really like the first one. I do feel like the first one started. What held it back was, I think it was on last gen consoles.
Yeah, it was cross-gen. It was cross-gen.
Yeah, and you could tell it was like really made for last gen. Even on the PC, it was like made for last gen.
The black bars were really cinematic, man.
Yeah. So
They actually patched those out, unlike
They did. Yeah, they did.
So yeah, I just want a real, true next gen one that that's gonna just be much better since, Capcom just doesn't want to make a real Resident Evil game anymore. They're like, even though I don't know, they make no sense. They're like, okay, even though Resident Evil still sells well at its former, in its prior form, people still loved it. Like, nah.
It's hard to argue with a remake of Resident Evil 2, though.
But the thing is that people, what I don't understand about Capcom's business model right now is the fact that when they released Resident Evil HD, it was the highest selling PSN game ever. Like that, that was it. It was the highest. And so there's an audience out there that wants an old school horror based Resident Evil. And I don't understand why Capcom doesn't understand. I just don't get it. I personally think the series is done. I don't think we're going to see a Resident Evil 7.
Like when
it would be episodic. Watch it at Resident Evil 7. Episodic.
Like when you have a game that just stops selling, a franchise that stops selling well. I understand business-wise you have to reconsider, but I don't understand the excuse here. It always sold well, so what was the problem? People want Mega Man. That is clear. Look how much money they threw at Inafune to make a successor. What is the problem? Like you don't like money? Is that it? Maybe they don't like money. Maybe that's it.
I think maybe the problem is that maybe Capcom doesn't have that much money.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, you have to spend money to make money. I don't think.
Right.
Yeah. And
until they announce a Dead Rising 4, they're dead to me anyway.
But I mean, there's just like Brandon said, there's something to be said there. I mean, Dead Rising 3 wouldn't exist unless Microsoft went and paid for it. Street Fighter 5 wouldn't exist unless Sony went and said we'll pay for it. I mean, that's why these games are exclusive, because those respective companies are paying for the games.
Well, they may still be pumping out money. Do you remember that game Deep Down?
Yeah, what the hell ever happened to that?
They announced that at E3 2013, and
2013.
Don't even hear about it anymore.
Last thing I read on that, they said it's still in development, but Capcom seems to be a little bit over their head with the amount of games they're working on. So
that could be.
So yeah, it's still in development. That might be a game we don't see no time soon, though.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll never see another Devil May Cry.
Nope, you won't. And Alcohol and Cost in Chat says you'll never see Deep Down again, and I tend to agree with him. I think it's dead.
Not in the West. Maybe it'll come out in some form in Japan.
And it's some free to play, whatever.
Well, it was always free to play.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see it.
No, I agree. I think it's done. So what else is happening? Star Wars: The Force Awakens is getting a Lego game in June, surprising absolutely fucking nobody.
Nobody.
So real quick, the publisher teased overnight that a new announcement concerning two of the biggest entertainment franchises. So this is what I don't understand. 2 of the biggest entertainment franchises will be made today. The announcement and game in question leaked online. Okay, so you got Star Wars. What's the other huge gaming franchise? Is it Lego?
Lego.
Is that what they're talking about?
Lego is massive.
Lego. Oh yeah.
It's huge, man.
I wouldn't call Lego one of the biggest entertainment franchises.
You need to look up Lego.
Really? How much money do these games make?
A
It's
ton.
not just the games; it's the Lego brand in general.
Right, but those games make a ton.
Fuck yeah, they do.
because they put it out on every console out there, and even I've got Lego games that my kids still play on the GameCube. I mean, that stuff just sells.
I had no fucking idea.
Especially since they get
big time.
Yes, especially since they get the rights to use all these different IPs. It's like
Yeah.
I'm curious how Dimensions sold, because I mean that believe it or not, I mean as a 42-year-old grown adult, but I've got kids to play it with. Lego Dimensions was a friggin' masterpiece, in my opinion.
It's definitely not a bad game.
It kicked the crap out of Disney Infinity. And my kids, my younger kids played Disney Infinity, even like the 3.0. But you played Lego Dimensions, and it's a whole different thing with a story, and the whole game traverses multiple. You play in the frickin' Simpsons and Doctor Who, and I mean the stuff that it does is. I mean, it's really, really innovative.
And that's that's Traveler's Tales, right? They make every single one, don't they?
Yep.
It's just one developer cranking them out like crazy.
Yeah, so I want to point out real quick, Mike, you said you're a grown-up and yet you play video games.
You know what? And I will for another 40 years, hopefully.
Yeah, if you make it that long. Okay, so anyway, that's that. Was that too much?
John. Now I know who this guy who was tweeting me the other day. It's John's other account.
It was me, dude. That was my troll account.
Jeez, man.
I'm actually also Mike Warrior on Twitter, by the way.
Well, so that explains an awful lot.
I'm not Mike Warrior. I'm not. One more story I wanted to touch on real quick. Limited edition Uncharted PS4 bundle out April 26th. To commemorate, this is from Uncharted 4's April 26th release date. We're rolling out the red or blue carpet with a special limited edition Uncharted 4 PlayStation 4 bundle. Unlike Nathan Drake, you don't need to trek through Madagascar to find this treasure. I hate the way this is written. Just pick one up in the U.S. This is terrible.
I love it.
This is terrible. So basically, the fucking thing is $400. And if you're Jeff, you'll be paying $500 for it in Canada. Sorry, Jeff. It's not my fault that the Canadian money is worth less than ours. Maybe you should move to America, Jeff. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But he'll be fine. I have not seen this yet. I'm going to open up a picture. Does it have like a sticker or like a decal of Nathan Drake on it?
It's gray. Yeah. Hang on.
No, I got it right here. Oh, that's actually kind of sick.
Here, hang on. Let me see if I can do this. If I can do it on your...
Are you going to share a screen?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
Ooh.
That's beast.
That is, yeah. I kind of want that actually.
That's a good looking, and look at the
good looking PlayStation.
That is a good looking dude. I like the color on that thing too.
I like the controller color too.
Although it does kind of look like Drake is like, why am I being bisected right now? What is this blue line is cutting me in half? But I don't understand what's happening. I should be dead right now. But no, seriously, that is a sick. I like the gold lettering too.
There you go.
Oh, that's pretty. I like that.
Yeah.
I might have to. I generally don't go for the flashy, symbols all over them, consoles. But I might have to drop a few ducats for that one because.
My only issue and this goes for all of them. The stuff on the top, I'll never see that. I'd rather have stuff on the front than on the top.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, I don't know, man. Like the front is like an inch. It's like an inch. It's like an inch. I mean, you're not going to see it.
I'll keep this up. I'll keep this up for a couple more minutes till you're ready to move on.
And
this is a smart move. I heard.
Keep talking.
Yeah. No, this is a smart move. This is what you're gonna see from every major game release from here to eternity. Is everything is gonna be a bundle now.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's smart, and it's one of the things that Sony finally learned from Microsoft. I give Microsoft really credit for that because for some reason Sony just didn't do it last generation. They didn't make every one of their big IPs into an event. For every first party or even third party game that Microsoft made, there was a bundle with it. So they pretty much double tapped into the sales because they tempted people to buy consoles they already had, buy games they technically already had. So, I mean, yeah, it was an obvious thing last generation, but Sony never did it. Now they're definitely doing it with their major games.
Well, not only are they doing it, I think they're doing it better because you get these kind of consoles. People have been clamoring for Microsoft to bring some of those custom consoles that they bring to Comic-Con and stuff. Some of those things are absolutely gorgeous. They had one for The Witcher 3. You couldn't buy it. You couldn't buy it. You could win it.
There was a Fallout Xbox One, and that thing was pretty. That thing looked really good.
Right.
I don't understand.
You couldn't buy it. You had to win it.
And that really kind of boggles my mind. I mean, we haven't really seen anything like that from Microsoft this generation, have we?
No. And actually, to be honest, as much as I like the look of this, I think the best-looking PS4 bundle that I had seen since they started doing this was the Batman Arkham Knight bundle. That was just a sick-looking console.
Oh, the Batman Knight, yeah. No, honestly, I think the best-looking console this generation has been that first Destiny console. That thing was gorgeous.
The Taken King was pretty good, too, with the map on it.
Either that or the 20th anniversary PS4. That thing was just...
Yeah, the 20th anniversary.
Yeah, no, I don't have the console, but I've got the right next to me.
Oh wait,
I've got the controller. That is, I won't play with anything but my. This thing.
Oh wait, there's more.
Wait, what's going on? Wait, what's this?
There's a headset too that you can get.
Lame.
Nah, who cares? I got my Astros. I don't need a headset.
I'm just saying.
I'm not worried about that. So actually, real quick, one more news story, and I know BG is interested in this. So we had that trailer for Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Is it called?
Yeah.
Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I never played. Well, I played like I don't know. Maybe I tried it. I played like maybe 30 minutes of Mirror's Edge when it came out last gen, and it just wasn't for me. But there are a lot of people who are really, really interested in this game, and I'm curious to think what you guys are going to predict for sales, because if I remember correctly, it scored very well, the original, but it didn't sell well. So the fact that it's getting a sequel is, I mean, it's good for people who love the game, but it's also surprising me.
EA is definitely taking more chances. I think when you have diversity, sometimes it's it's a lot more meaningful than only sticking with, what sells. Because if you stick with only what sells, then all you're going to have is first-person shooters all the damn time. I mean, they're taking a chance with Unravel. They don't expect I think Unravel is going to surprise them and do really well, but they're not expecting it to sell like crazy amount. But it's like $20, so I'm sure they're going to make their money back, and people are going to love that game. With Mirror's Edge, is definitely fan service. The first one didn't sell amazing. I think because it was a new IP at first, but after like that, people played it further along the line. I think it's like a really cult classic. I think more people are going to be interested in buying it now. Hardware and software sales this generation are way up, so I think it'll do really well. It's practically the only game in its genre. Maybe one other game like Dying Light is in there, but it's practically one of the only games in its genre. So I think it's just going to do much better than its original.
So like I said, I'm really happy that people who love the original are getting a sequel, but I'm a little disappointed that we're getting a sequel to Mirror's Edge, and I still don't see anything but a sequel to Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is probably one of my top favorite games of all time.
That one.
We got that one video of the pig on the boat, like I don't know, a few years ago, and there was some I don't know, some tech demo footage of Jade running through an alley. You guys remember that? She was running through the alley and she was running through the town and stuff, and everybody looked at it and everybody was like, oh my god, that looks fucking amazing. Of course, it never materialized. And just the other day, Ubisoft says, no, it's coming. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is. I promise you, we're working on it. And how long have they been saying that it's coming out? How many years?
7 years.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't. At this point,
well, the original came out in 2003, so.
I don't want to hear another fucking word about Beyond Good and Evil 2 until I get either footage, like actual in-game footage, and a release date. Aside from that, I've officially divorced myself from the possibility.
Or cancellation announcement.
What was that, Gabe?
Or cancellation announcement.
Oh yeah. And to be honest with you, dude, as far as I'm concerned, the game isn't.
It's vaporware. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. No. That's a great term. That's exactly what it is. It's fucking vaporware. Somebody in chat mentioned the possibility of a Horizon Zero Dawn bundle, and
Definitely.
I think that's a given.
Yeah.
That will absolutely get a bundle.
You think?
Oh yeah, dude. No, that's I guarantee. So we may not know the release date yet. And BG, chime in on this, but because I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I truly believe that is going to be Sony's big tentpole release for this winter. I think that's going to be their big fall AAA exclusive game, and it will absolutely get a bundle. It'll get like a specially designed console. I guarantee
that game. I feel like there's just so much they can make. They can make a beautiful custom console with that game, right?
Really can.
Whatever they do at the front, I think they have a lot of it has a lot of potential with like games like Uncharted being the last game. I think Horizon Zero Dawn has I think a lot of people think it's going to be their next hit game that is like critically acclaimed. It can be, and a lot of people doubt the game simply because it's Guerrilla Games, and not that they've made horrible games, but they haven't made anything amazing. This is their first time making anything other than a first-person shooter. The only thing they have under their belt is all the kill zones, and what was this really old? The shooter. There's some Vietnam game that they made back in.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I forgot what it's called. So that's all they have under their belt is first-person shooters. So this is their first time doing something different. We obviously know they're great at making visuals. Their stories haven't been amazing. They did hire a writer. I know.
NAM 67.
That's what it was.
That
I remember that game.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But not as bad as the sequel.
It wasn't that bad.
No, come on, don't sugarcoat it.
It wasn't that bad. I think I still have mine.
It has its Metacritic is in the 50s.
I don't care about that. Metacritic doesn't.
Forget about Metacritic, man.
I played
Metacritic.
it. I thought it was garbage. I don't know.
It's almost sold 1 million copies. Give me a break.
Anyway, Shell Shock 2.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure if it's going to come out this year, because you know how games are delayed. But if it does get delayed, it's going to be an early, very early game next year, like February, I would bet. But Sony has obviously, like all the past falls, have been absent from the fall games, holiday lineup with a major game, which has actually worked out pretty okay for them. But still, you want to have at least one game and show up to the party.
Well, see, and we've brought that up on the podcast before. Is the fact that I don't think Sony can afford to go another fall without a big tentpole release. They did it last year based on the strength of bundled software, which, in my opinion, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Exclusives don't sell consoles anymore. Bundles do. Bundles sell consoles. That's the new normal in this generation, along with massive holiday sales. But I don't think Sony can afford to not have Horizon come out this fall, and I think they know it. Because nobody can deny that as far as first-party exclusives go, like Microsoft had them beat handily. Not just last fall, but last year. There were some great Sony exclusives. I mean, you got Bloodborne and Until Dawn, two of my favorite games of the year. But Xbox just had a bigger stable, so I think they have to get Horizon out this year. They have to. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm surprised that the fact that Uncharted is not filling that void in the fall tells me that Horizon is probably going to come out October, November.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the big things for fall will be Uncharted 4 DLC, single-player DLC, and Horizon.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so if I may disagree for a second,
Please.
I think we're forgetting Last Guardian.
Oh yeah, no shit.
Yeah, well, of course we.
Which
forgot.
I think is going to be. I think that is going to be the big holiday game for them because it's been so long in development. It's been that highly touted Team Ico game. That's what I think that's what they want to hang their hat on. And look, I know, and every time someone goes into list wars, and I'm not saying we are, but this gets brought up many times about who had the better exclusive stable, who had a better holiday. But the fact is, Microsoft went in with some heavy hitters, and they did extremely well. Anybody who says they didn't is fooling themselves.
No, of course they did.
But Sony went in with two of the largest third-party titles with custom bundles, with marketing, and they did better. Doesn't mean that the Xbox did bad, just means they did better. And they did it without a single first-party game to hang their hat on. I think they feel like they can let the third parties, because they've got a very, very, very strong third-party division at Sony, much stronger. It reminds me a lot of Microsoft's third-party relationship division in the Xbox and Xbox 360 era when Peter Moore was there. Sony has a very strong division that goes after third parties. They can afford to get these deals for Call of Duty, for Star Wars Battlefront, for those games, and they can rest on those. And then they can fill out the rest of the year with their exclusives and continue that sales model.
Well, hold on. I've got to disagree with you about The Last Guardian. And after I just talk real quick, I want other people to kind of chime in. I don't agree that they're hanging their hat on The Last Guardian, and I'll tell you why. Because if you look at so let's say that Horizon does come out this year, like I think it will. The Last Guardian, I'm excited for it. I loved Eco. I loved Shadow of the Colossus, but those are niche titles for most people. These are not games that the masses are waiting for. I mean, that massive reaction to The Last Guardian at E3 was.
I think the market has changed.
I don't know, man.
Well,
I mean, given the choice of Horizon or The Last Guardian, I'm going to buy Horizon.
I feel like The Last Guardian could be way more successful than even Shadow of the Colossus was.
Well, here's the thing, and
But that's relative, though. I mean,
and I definitely also want BG's perspective on this, because he's there was a point in time when I was out of even gaming for a while, so I've watched kind of what Sony's done in the last couple of years. I think Sony is really doing a lot more of the, and this is not a bad thing, catering, and I saw it in E3 last year, catering to their fan base rather than catering to the entire fan base. They'll let Call of Duty and they'll let Star Wars and they'll let those big games and those third parties take care of getting their console out to the mainstream gamer. I think push comes to shove, I think PlayStation always wants to do service to their own fan base, and that's why I think they would push Last Guardian more. I'm not saying they won't push Horizon. I'm just saying I think if they had their choice, I think Horizon comes out in August and Last Guardian comes out in October, November.
No way. No way.
So Sony is definitely letting third-party games fight some of their wars for them, instead of fighting the whole wars with some of their first parties. They're picking and choosing their times. The reason I don't think The Last Guardian is going to come out in the fall is because I don't think there's anticipation for the game, but that game was, when was it first announced? 2006 maybe?
Yep. It was a PS3. It was a PS3 title. I don't think it was 06, but you're right. It was a PS3 title.
2008 maybe. Who knows at this point, right? But the people who were at first excited about that game are like at least 5, 6, 7 years older now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if the same people are still like playing games at this point, because 6, 7 years changes a lot. A lot of people go through a lot in that time. So I don't even know if the same people or as many people that were hyped about that game 6 years ago are still even in gaming now. So that's why I'm not sure if it'll be supported even in the fall. I think what The Last Guardian needs is literally a month where there is no significant competition. Put it right in the summer, I think. I think it should go in the summer. Like August, early August.
Yeah, just like Until Dawn.
Yeah, just like Until Dawn. Early August, release The Last Guardian. Don't give it no competition, and let it do its thing. Because I think people's confidence in that game have waned over all these
Yeah,
years.
it's going to come down to the reviews. They got to be.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it always does. But
Yeah.
look at the reaction it got when it was reannounced. I mean, look at that reaction it got
But
at
that,
E3.
but those were
But
diehard
those were
Sony fans.
yeah, no,
I
agree with
understand,
you.
and I think that's who they play to.
It is.
And to their credit,
But that's not the
I-
mass market, though, Mike. That's not the mass
right,
market.
which is why I think the mass market. Remember, this Call of Duty thing is a multi-year deal for them. They're going to rest on that to drive mainstream sales.
Like,
So I actually want I want to pose an interesting question to Gabe, because Alcoholic Cost he made something where he just said something in chat that kind of made me think. He said he's old as fuck, and you are old as fuck. Alcoholic Cost.
And yet I'm older than him.
But
Yeah.
and you're old and you're like fucking ancient.
I'm ancient.
But-
This is a wheelchair I'm in, by the way.
But no, it doesn't surprise me at all. Have fun changing out your colostomy bag after the podcast. But I want to pose a question to Gabe because he's the youngest one of the group by a good margin. Gabe, did you ever play the older Ueda games like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus? Did you ever play those?
Yeah, I played both Ico and Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay, so having played those, if somebody said, okay, we're going to release The Last Guardian and Horizon at the same time, like what game are you more interested in as kind of a younger gamer who, I'm interested to see what you think about that.
Well, okay. Realistically, if I had to choose one, because obviously I'll buy both, but if I had to choose just one game, I'd have to go with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, that's what I
Robot dinosaurs, man. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
thank you, Gabe. You see.
Yeah, Barry just said it all. I mean, it's a game with the larger scope. It probably will last longer than Last Guardian. So, as an immediate purchase, something that I have money just over this for one game. Which game would I get? I would definitely get Horizon Zero Dawn.
I'm sorry, BG, go ahead.
yeah, and like he was saying, Sony definitely knows who their core fans are and what their core fans like, because me and a lot of I was at the E3 when they premiered it, like in the fifth row, so I was like right
Lucky
there,
fucker.
right? So everybody that was there went crazy because we can relate, we know what this is. But when I spoke to other people who didn't really know about the game, who weren't around, I guess the younger crowd who weren't invested in this game, they're like, I don't get it. I don't see the hype. Why is everybody going crazy over this game? Right? They can't relate. And especially if they never played the Ico, the Ico and Shadow of Colossus. Shadow of Colossus is in my top 5 games of all time.
That was a fantastic fucking game.
Easily. But others, if they've never played Shadow of Colossus, they can't relate. They'll look at this game and they won't think one of the greatest games of all time. So that's where the disconnect comes with the the modern audience. And the thing that gets on my nerves about Team Ico is, I talked about this on my podcast. I looked, because we all know this game has been delayed for a long time. I looked at the games they've made. They've made I think 3 games in 20 years. I think it was some shit like that.
yeah, but I mean, at least Shadow of the Colossus is a masterpiece.
Team
ridiculous.
Ico is basically the who's that actor who's only made 5 movies? Daniel Day-Lewis. They're like the Daniel Day-Lewis of video games. That's exactly.
They make it count, man. They make it count.
Yeah, they do.
Ico was 2001, Shadow of the Colossus 2005, and then they had a Ico and Shadow of the Colossus collection.
Which was
Yeah,
didn't Blue Point make that?
They probably did. Dude.
I'm pretty sure that was a Blue Point joint. Maybe
But
not.
I couldn't help but to feel like they were that's just money and resources being wasted when you're working on one game for this long. Could you imagine if I can't imagine any other game company existing when they've made 3 games in 20 years.
Polyphony.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Maybe Rare. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe Rare. But I think Gabe makes a really good point about Horizon, is the fact that the mass market, and here ultimately is where this is why I disagree with you, Mike. With all respect, robot dinosaurs.
Tapping into your inner
I
manual.
understand that.
But what I'm saying is that is such an easier sell to the mass market than young kid who speaks gibberish and leads a dog around some ruins. I am very excited about The Last Guardian. I love Shadow of the Colossus. but no. I mean, for that to trump Horizon in terms of
I think the
import
mass
to-
market
to
is
some-
becoming more accepting of artsy-fartsy games. If the
More
Witness,
Sure.
I mean, come on, if the Witness can come out and start like selling the way it is, I mean, just in general, I think the market has become more accepting of these kinds of.
What do you think the Witness would have sold if it had a physical release?
It would have sold. I don't what.
There's the point I'm making here. Like these games are selling more, but when you compare like 100,000 to the fucking like 13 million that Battlefront has sold,
I'm not
I
gonna.
mean,
No, it's never gonna sell that,
Yeah.
and it's never gonna sell more than Horizon. But I think it'll sell well, really well.
no, I agree. I think it'll
For
sell well.
its
I just
current
don't.
budget.
Well, and they have the ability now that they're doing uh, these re-releases of PS2 games. They have an opportunity to introduce their fan base to their new fan base to Ico and Shadow of the Colossus.
I can't believe you can't download this on PS4 yet. I can't believe it.
It's coming.
It'll happen. Yeah.
I think
don't
it's
know.
I think it's coming, and they might do something. Microsoft. This is one thing that Microsoft has done very well in some of these things they've got going on. You buy Rainbow Six Siege, you get Rainbow Six and Vegas and Vegas 2. You buy Fallout 4, you get Fallout 3. I think you'll see. You buy Sony did it too. You buy Battlefront, that Battlefront bundle, you get all these Star Wars games. I think they'll do the same thing here. They could put together a bundle where you get The Last Guardian and
Yeah.
you get Ico and Shadow of the Colossus
Yeah, I can see that.
along with it.
Yeah. Good point.
That'd be a hell of a bundle. That'd be a hard. And then put that thing out for $349. That's a hard sell to walk away from.
Horizon, let me just say, taps into your inner 9-year-old and your inner 50-year-old. That's the crazy thing about that game, right? It doesn't matter what age. Dinosaur robots is appealing no matter how old you are, right? Like,
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you seen the honest trailer for what's that movie called that I love by I always fuck his name up. Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro. Yeah.
Yeah, I always fuck his name up. Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
movie was
Pacific
pretty
Rim.
much. It was funny because people were making fun of that movie because they said it was a combination of Power Rangers and Rock'em Sock'em robots, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. So
that's-
what?
that's amazing.
Awesome.
What do you
That's my
mean?
childhood.
Yeah. What else do you need? Like I'll
Yet
like
that robot fighting movie with Hugh Jackman bombed.
Amazing. I love that. Like, who doesn't love fighting robots? You can't go wrong like with fighting robots. It's
and
All
that's
right.
the thing.
I'm
It's
gonna
like
test
Yeah,
it. I'm gonna
honestly, hold on, Mike, real quick. I want to kind of jump off of what BG just said. That's why I'm not worried about Horizon, because honestly, you could take a fucking hot girl who's firing a lightning bow and she's fighting robot dinosaurs. I don't need a story. I'll fill in the plot holes by myself. Okay,
That looks really good.
that's all people are gonna need.
I like
That's
all the location-based damage stuff they're doing.
Yeah, I thought it was genius. That trailer when she's shooting the big robot T-Rex and she yanks the gun off of it and then she picks it up and fires it.
And the way you have to shoot the cables and then like attach them to the ground. To
I hope she's not as talkative while you're playing the game.
I feel like that was they were just doing that for the demo.
I hope so. Like I
think
don't mind hearing her inner turmoil about killing the robots, but at the same time, if she's gonna say it every 10
It
seconds,
seemed out of place. Yeah.
it did. It really did. I was saying, so Mike, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. But to your point, I think that's why they can launch it outside of the holiday season and it still do well, because you could pull those people in August, September. I was just actually, since we were talking about robot fighting movies and showing how old I am, any of you guys remember a movie called Robot Jox?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
You've got to see it. You want to talk about old school?
Yeah, I know, man. Shit from the 1950s, huh?
Pretty much.
Yeah. God, you are old as fuck.
I am old as fuck.
All right. So anyway, okay. So I kind of want to touch on something that happened to Mike. If you don't mind just talking about it a little bit, Mike, because I thought it was, I don't know, I thought it was disturbing. This is kind of where the console wars have gotten now, and I don't want to mention any names. I don't want to give anybody any publicity here on our podcast. And I don't even know much about what happened. I looked back through some of the tweets that have been sent to you, and I know about the individual that had dug up an old post you made on NeoGAF, like what, back in 2007?
Something like that. Yeah.
But
So,
I want you to talk about it real quick because this is something I feel needs to kind of be talked about, and I'll tell you why. But go ahead.
well, and so usually it doesn't. Usually the stuff doesn't bother me. Everybody who I and so basically out of nowhere, somebody sent a tweet to BG and me and said, "You got to see this." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't even know who you are." I think I had the guy blocked because usually what happens is if somebody tries to drag me into a console war thing, um, just because I have Xbox friends and I have PlayStation friends, and sometimes they all go at it with each other. Um, and I've outgrown that from my Sega days. And plus, being a former game journalist, I sort of learned how to be a lot more objective. So, uh, you know, so out of the blue, somebody who I don't even know, I don't tweet, I don't talk to, I don't get in the middle of their arguments, I don't even know why, came up with this post I made in 2007 over, which is why it's funny. I was hoping Z would be on tonight because he's a big numbers guy. I usually talk numbers when numbers are absolute. And Sony was having a rough time back then with the PS3. They were having quarterly issues. And just like I would talk about it on my podcast now, and I do, if you listen to my podcast, we go over quarterly numbers. I made some post about Sony's quarterly numbers and being bad and having trouble getting out of that, even with games like Oblivion coming out and stuff like that.
Suddenly you were, what, a Sony pony, right?
No, apparently I was an Xbot.
Oh, no. That's on the next spot.
Right.
I don't think
Apparently that made me an Xbot. Forgetting the fact that I think later on, either it must have been actually earlier because I quit NeoGAF around that time. I actually got banned from there at one point for calling somebody an Xbot because they were going on and on about some crazy crap with the Xbox. I'm like, what do you know? So anyway, long story short on this, somehow I got dragged in this. Now, because I have these guys blocked, I have no idea what was going on afterwards. So I'm sure they were all having their little fun and whatnot. The only thing that bothered me, and I didn't really say anything because I really didn't feel like getting into an argument with other people. Other people started jumping on and calling me names and oh, he must have been doing this for a long time. And all I could think of, and I almost typed it, and then I kind of didn't, and I'm like, you know what? And thankfully, BG, he really stepped in front of this for me, and I do appreciate it because one of the guys who did that's one of his friends from the Weapon Wheel podcast. I really wanted to jump in and say, none of you people know who I am. You have no idea. What I did post was, here's my old website, because archive.org actually cached a ton of Next Level Gaming pages. And I said, here's the link to there. Go crazy. Because if you actually read anything that I do, it was I owned, for somebody who's supposed to be an Xbot, I certainly owned every PlayStation up until this one, every Nintendo console beyond the N64. I fully admit to being a Sega fanboy back in the days when I was young. I grew up, which is what most people should do. But to get dragged into this thing for no reason, everybody knows me. They can hear my podcast. They can see my content. They can go back and they can read my posts on my own website. And then to have people just attacking me for something that I said that had no context to it, that's the only thing that got me. And I really wanted to say, none of you fuckers know a thing about me. None of you know who I am. None of you know anything. But here you are calling me, a slave, or I think somebody called me a fag boy. Well, I'm like, who? First off, who are you people? And second, you don't know me. And you are welcome to come and ask me. I'm on Twitter. You want to come and ask me about my views on the various consoles? Come on. Listen to my podcast. If you really want to know, come on.
It was just
So
It
it was
was
just really
crazy.
dumb because the thing was from 2007. Like I don't remember my life in 2007. What and like the guy, I don't know who the guy was, but I'm like, why are you seeing? He's like, you got to check this out. I'm like, okay. I read it and I'm like, okay, why are you sending me this? He said it's something he said in 2007. Okay, why do I care? Even if he said it yesterday, I'm like, I
that's it. Yeah.
probably wouldn't have cared. I'm like, what? Why is this an issue? I mean, was he a Nazi or something? Like, okay, I'm like, why is this a big
Right.
deal?
Well, depending on who you ask, you know,
Did he commit
maybe
war
he is
crimes?
a Nazi. Yeah, I mean, shit. But so
The amazing part about it is, you know, I have friends on both sides of this thing, and they all know that I don't care for this. And my and John, you and I have talked to Tim, and sometimes you get in it with Crap Gamer a little bit and stuff, and even I stay out of that stuff because, to be quite honest, as long as you don't drag me into it,
I said no names.
We had Tim on.
yeah. But you
Yeah, man.
but I'm not bringing in the people who did this. But if you guys do that, that's fine. I don't care, because that's just the
So
kitty console war. Just don't drag me into it.
this is why it happens, Mike, and Gabe, feel free to jump in because Gabe and I we share a similar vice. And it's the fact that Gabe and I, for sport, Gabe knows what I'm talking about. I see you trying not to smile. Gabe, I find it fascinating to look at these guys' Twitter feeds and just see the lunacy that comes out. And the really, really upsetting thing to me, it's kind of a scary thing, is the fact that we're not talking about 14-year-old boys. We're not talking about 12-year-olds. We're talking about 37-year-old men with families, children. And at the end of the day, I love video games, and they're a huge part of my life. They're a huge part of who I am. Video games made me who I am today. This incredibly handsome man that you see in front of you is because of games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI. But to call somebody, like, to threaten death, I mean, people get death threats over this shit, and I just gaming, to me, it's like every year the shit becomes more and more toxic. This is one reason that I mean, there's a lot of cool people on NeoGAF, for example, right? Like Brandon's great on NeoGAF. Gabe, I'm on GAF. I don't post there a lot anymore, but the shit posting that goes on in places like GAF and on Twitter, I mean, to me, in my opinion, it's becoming worse. It's getting worse every single year.
Well, and that's what drove me out of GAF. I mean, I was a member there for a long time, and so were many other people who were, who, whether they were press or developers or things like that. A lot of us bolted because it got to a point to where you couldn't have even a rational or intelligent conversation. I'll talk numbers with people all day long, as long as they're, as long as they're respectful about it, and we could disagree and that kind of thing. But it hasn't been very respectable there for a very long time, and it's gotten worse since this new generation has come along, and it doesn't serve a purpose, which is
But
why
see,
I mean,
But see, here's the problem, I get, and Brandon knows exactly what I'm talking about because he sees a lot of shit posted on GAF. He posts them on his Twitter feed. I wish he wouldn't do that because I can't resist reading them.
Somebody's got to keep the dream alive, man. After the NeoGAF shit post, Twitter abandoned their post.
I really wish sometimes you wouldn't do that because it's like ambrosia to me. I have to absorb it. But fucking, the reason that people shit post on NeoGAF, and the reason that people say the things they did to you, Mike, and the reason that certain individuals on Twitter tweet out to developers what they do, like, oh, you're a fucking piece of shit. The Last of Us was garbage. Halo was garbage. The reason they do that is it's because of guys like me and Gabe. Because and I hate to say it, but it's our fault because we give them the attention they so desperately crave. So in a way, I'm responsible for it. So I should probably apologize.
I've been trying to talk people out of that slowly and surely, and it doesn't work. But I feel like giving those people that attention, and with this a situation that happened to me, except for the fact that there was some extra conversation with other people, kind of in BG's feed that had nothing to that didn't originally bring this up. I gave that person no more time of day. I was like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're talking about, and have a good one. And that's about it. I don't I don't get involved in these conversations. I don't get involved in, which is kind of funny because if I'm such an expert, why am I not constantly in that group of users? If I'm a Sony guy, which I have been accused of before by Xbox people, why am I not with that people? Why am I by myself with a small channel of
Yeah, like
320
the thing about
subscribers?
console wars that gets me is how willing they are to just like pull in bystanders and just try to like label
Yeah.
people, just like
Yeah.
pick people who aren't on any side in sides just because it makes their simple worldview just kind of fit better. If it's just black and it's just white, there's no gray. They don't have time for gray. You're either
No, that's
Xbox.
You have to choose a side, man.
But
That's
just
a
to
real-
come out of nowhere, and I don't even know how.
no, but
Like,
they do. Like
you,
that's
do you know those people? Or did they just catch you out of thin air too?
You talking about me?
Yeah, I mean, did you
Uh,
know who that guy was?
I don't. I think he's probably tweeted me before, but it's not anybody I follow or I know like that.
Right. So
But
I mean, just out of nowhere, and it's not so much like he didn't even come to me directly. He went to BG and said, "Hey, you've got to see what this guy."
but
I don't even understand how
what
that
the hell was
happened.
I gonna
Brand-
do? Like, and
Well,
why would
right.
I care?
Right.
Right.
And I felt
So-
bad. I really felt bad that you were involved in this at all. I don't even understand what you had to do with me.
both Brandon and Gabe make really good points, and I want to tackle them real quick. Gabe said that. Gabe, would you say pick a side? Gabe said that people want you to pick a side, and it's true. People do want you to pick a side, and if you're caught in the middle, then you're just going to get it from both sides.
Yeah.
You're going to get that DP. You're going to get that DP like you did.
Finally,
Yeah.
somebody is
So that-
delivering on the promise of DP.
Somebody, I know, right? I'm
Well, it's
waiting.
funny because
I've
when
literally. Go ahead, Gabe.
because when you try to be neutral, when you try to not do I mean, we all have preferences, I'm primarily a PC guy. When it comes to consoles, I have a preference for PlayStation because of the games, because it's in the end it's all about the games. It's all
You are
about
such a
what we
fucking
prefer.
Sony pony, Gabe.
Yeah, right. But I know it's hard, but we have to. I think we have to try and not let these preferences cloud our judgment when it comes to these companies, And so, just the other day, I retweeted something from. Should I say his name? I'm not gonna say his name. Some guy who says that there's no difference between PlayStation Network and Xbox Live. They're both networks are basically the same, so therefore there is no performance difference. There is no difference at all between it. Then I just retweeted his tweet saying that was the funniest shit I read. Then he posted on his Twitter account. He posted screenshots calling me an Xbox, of course. I was already called a pony. Now I was being called an Xbox, right? So, saying that, what did he say? He said something like, "Well, let me see if I can get it." But he was just saying. First, he answered me. It's hard to remember, man. This guy says some shit. Oh yeah, does Xbox Live have routers that magic routers or something? So
What? Wait,
anyone
what? Does it have what?
Does it have what?
magic routers or something?
Magic
Let me
routers?
see if I can. Yeah, I mean because this guy he proclaimed himself as software engineer in his Twitter bio.
Oh,
So
I know.
he-
No. That's.
You know who he is,
about.
right?
I
You
know
who he is.
exactly who you're talking about. Yes, I do. I'm not going to say his name because he's a fucking troll. But I
Yeah.
know we all know who you're talking about.
So
At least I
we
do.
talk about it like Xbox Live and
His
like
avatar
if
is Joel
networking
from The Last
routers
of Us,
and
right?
what? I'm sorry.
His avatar is Joel from The Last of Us doing that thing right here.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I know who that
You
is.
know who I'm talking
We
about,
know
right?
who that is. We know who that is.
So he says it like it's like packets and routers like this is the only that matters on the network, like infrastructure, like You know, like having PDNs around the world doesn't mean a thing. You know, like
Well, he's one of those guys.
they run around and they transmit packets between the server and the client, so the network is the same. There's no difference, you know. And he talks about like he was a master in networking, you know. I mean, I work in IT. I'm not exactly a genius, you know. I'm not an expert on network, of course. I'm working at it for like 5 years, but I know something about it, you know. I worked at it for a couple of years. I'm working on something different right now, on IT too. But you know, it's funny how these people like to find excuses for things, you know.
So
It's funny when they talk shit like that until you tell them that you manage an IT firm,
well,
and then all of a sudden they shut up.
well, you know, and
Oh yeah,
Brandon,
it's
Brandon made
awesome.
a,
Yeah.
Brandon made a really good point too, and this happens to me quite ever since I started the podcast. Like that guy you're talking about, Gabe, and other guys that I've had to block will loop me into Tim Dog. I know a lot of people have problems with Tim Dog. We've had him on the podcast. He was perfectly polite and easy to talk to here, so I'm not going to say anything bad about the guy. As far as I'm concerned, he's a nice guy. We don't agree on a lot, but it is what it is. But I will constantly get looped into tweets of like Photoshop, like his head photoshopped onto some dude that's getting railed by Phil Spencer. And I'm like,
Well, he's one of those ones.
like these things will show up in my Twitter feed. It's like some chick. There was one that showed up in my Twitter feed last week, and it was a GIF, and it was this lady who was on a forklift, and the forklift was driving around, and this dude was fucking nailing her as it was driving around, and the dude, like somebody photoshopped Tim's head and Phil Spencer's head in there, and I was looking at this, and I was like, and I was like, this is how you spend your afternoon. Like people will throw like gay porn up, and it's like two dudes, and it's like Phil Spencer's head and Tim's head, and they will include me on these tweets, and I'm like, what does this say about you? You were downloading pictures of gay porn to your computer, and now you're what? Like I just don't. All this talk about gay porn. Gabe's like I'm out.
Gabe's like I'm out.
Gabe's like I can't talk about gay porn.
He's unfortunately, and this is I've tried to talk to him about it a little bit. He's one of those that unfortunately is getting the death threats. Like in the last 2 days, he's had people. Somebody. I almost said something, and I keep out. But somebody had said, I wish your kids were in a room full of gas. I mean, somebody. I mean,
Well,
it gets.
one
This
Xbox.
is the shit.
There was this one Xbox guy who called my wife a cunt, and I was like, you don't even know my wife. Like, that
Right.
doesn't
What
make
the
sense
hell
in
is?
the context of anything. Like I was
What the
laughing
hell
at
is
it.
wrong with these people? And sometimes you just want to. Yeah, sometimes I just want to tweet. What the fuck is wrong with you? What is this that is so important that you have to make this much effort? And it almost goes back to the situation that I had this week. How much effort do you have to put in to do this? What else is going on in your life that you have to take time for this? When I quit Twitter, when I get off this podcast, I have a wife and 3 kids upstairs. I mean, this is not. I mean, I love this, and I miss what I do. I miss some of the things that I've been proud to be a part of in the game industry. But at the end of the day, this isn't my real life. Nothing that gets said on Twitter, nothing that gets said on a podcast, nothing that gets said on NeoGAF affects my job, my life, my relationship with my kids. I mean, none of this is real. So what are you making this big giant effort for?
I wanna point out a couple guys in chat, Enrique and Alcoholic Cost and Wiz Island 15, who I haven't seen before. Maybe if you've joined us before and I'm just
Wiz
not asking you, I
Island,
apologize.
man.
Wiz Island. Yeah, I'm a Marine, dude. I can't pronounce things.
Clearly, got to
Said
break it
before.
down Barney style for you.
Break that shit down Barney style, motherfucker. Get the fucking knife hand out, man. But yeah, the dude called my wife a cunt, and then he like tweeted a picture. He tweeted a picture of his shadow holding a machete, but he was so like rotund that I was like, what? Hold on. I was like, dude, you must weigh like 275 pounds. Like, what is that? What are you doing? Like, is that a threat? Like, dude, I'm a fucking Marine. I'm a Marine, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, please come to my house. Like,
He'll get winded. He'll get winded running at you.
Dude, he tweeted this fucking picture, and I showed it to my wife, and she was like,
Man,
"What? Like, what the hell
that's
is this?"
familiar. I think I know who this guy was.
I know. Oh no, I guarantee you know who he is. I guarantee.
Yeah, I think he did something similar to someone else.
I just don't.
Right, with
just
a photo with
understand
a shadow of a machete, right? With the machete in his hand, right?
But this is the stuff that I just don't understand. I don't understand this. I don't understand the videos. I don't understand the. And I've seen these YouTube video fights that go on between people. I don't get it. And maybe I'm just too old. Maybe
guys like Black. I know I said I was going to mention names, but guys like Black Bond and Iron Wolf just get into it, and
right.
I'm very thankful to not have any idea who those people are.
Black Bond's a cool guy. I actually like Black Bond. But the Iron Wolf's just a fucking scumbag. But anyway, I said I wasn't going to mention any names, and I think VG, you know a couple of these guys, right?
Yeah, what I've actually done with a lot of the crazy ones, like I used to follow them on Twitter, not to get into any toxic conversation, but it always seems to kind of lead to that because I try to have like a civilized, intelligent conversation. First mistake, you can't, right?
No.
So that's the thing. Like once I realize I can't have an intelligent conversation with you, if we talk about something like something very simple, like 1 + 1 = 2, and then I show you proof that 1 + 1 = 2, and you're just like, no, it doesn't. I believe it equals 5 just because that's what I wanted to believe. Then I have to I realize I can't talk to you when you believe that your opinion reigns over facts that I'm presenting you. So I just went on a mass unfollowing of these people, and I don't like to talk to people who agree with me about everything. So that's why I follow them, because I like to have these conversations, right? But there's no point in me at least even talking to people who disagree with me or have different opinions if you're not even a logical person. And I like to have these people with different opinions on my podcast. That's also why I followed them. But you can't even have an intelligent conversation with them. That's why I had to, just unfollow all of them. And Black Bond, I'm cool with Black Bond. The only reason why I'm even cool with Black Bond is because he's the type of person that he's not going to argue, he's not going to go personal with you unless you get personal with him. And what he'll do is if you say something, he'll just get an article, and his whole video will be an article. If you say something isn't, he'll say, okay, well, here's a report that says it is, and that'll be like a 3-minute video. That's why, like, if you're a logical, intelligent person, regardless of what you like, I can talk to you. But once you go beyond those bounds, it's like, what am I doing here? And it just leads to these crazy long conversations, and I realize I'm wasting my time. So I unfollowed all of them, and I could be doing so much more, productive things than what I'm doing right now. So, I think
you and I, we joked about this coming into the second Gaming Assembly podcast. BG, you and I have had a couple of those kind of conversations, but they've always been respectable, and they've always been, we come from places where we've got some actual fact to come with, and so it just ends up being a discussion rather than this craziness that goes on.
Well, I'll you know what? I guess at the end of the day, I'll kind of close out here because we're hitting over an hour and a half now. I don't want to get too long-winded. I don't want people to start getting bored.
Yeah.
But
just to finish, let me do. I found a tweet just to
go ahead, please.
I'm gonna share try to share. Can you guys see it? The screen.
Does Xbox have?
You see, why is it funny? Does Xbox Live have magic routers that defy the laws of physics?
Okay.
The answer to me from my and then he posted this. Xbox thinks Xbox Live has magic routers that make the network better, quote unquote. Such bullshit.
It's the same
There's
as
no difference in
Xbox
packet
Live.
delivery. Like packet delivery is the only aspect of a network that, when it comes to performance, I mean, this guy.
Right.
You know what? You know what?
Nothing else that goes into a network but packets.
I'll say this much.
Yeah,
I am primarily a PlayStation guy, but to say that PSN and Xbox Live are on the same level. It's just, come on.
No, man.
Yeah.
Come on, get the fuck out of here.
You can't say that.
Get the fuck out of here. But so I'll kind of end on this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of negative voices out there in the gaming community, in the podcasting community, and on Twitter, on social media forums, and there are not enough. There are not enough positive voices, and there are too many negative voices, I guess. And unfortunately, the negative voices are the ones that talk the loudest. And
Yep.
it's up to guys like us. It's up to podcasts like Next Level Gaming and Weapon Wheel and our podcast. Those positive voices to get out there and make our voices heard and let the gaming community know that these idiots, be they for Sony or Microsoft, they don't speak for the gaming community. And I don't think we should speak for the gaming community, but at the same time, there needs to be more positivity. There's too much talk about console war bullshit, not enough talk about games. And that's what you get when you go to the Next Level Gaming podcast, and that's what you get when you go to Broken Games HD's channel, and that's what you get when you come here. We talk about video games. Unless we're talking about fanboys like we have been for the past 20 minutes. But no, seriously, and that's why I consider myself lucky to have such cool co-hosts. Jeff and JT aren't here, but a shout out to them, just awesome guys. And Brandon and Steve. Steve wasn't able to show up today, but he's amazing. Of course, Brandon and Gabe. There's no Super Deformed Gamescast without you guys. Period. And it's always a pleasure to have positive voices in the community, like Mike and BG on. So I want to thank you guys for coming on the podcast tonight and helping to make this a positive experience. I thought Gabe had just left for a minute. I was like, dude, I'm right in the middle of my fucking thing. Dude, come on, man. Where you going?
Like 3 o'clock in the morning, man. Dude needs to...
I know, yeah. I see Gabe over there fighting. Gabe's fighting to stay awake. But he's good.
Don't worry, man.
He's got some magic routers to set up.
It'll be just 1 hour.
I don't want to keep him up any longer. But I'll go ahead and end it there.
Don't worry, man. It's Carnival starting tomorrow. 5 days off.
Yeah, whatever, man. I gotta go to training tomorrow. That's why I'm here in this hotel room. But I wanted to thank everybody in the chat for joining us tonight. As our audience continues to grow, people I see new people in the chat window every day, or not every day, but every week, every new podcast, and I appreciate you guys coming. Of course, we will be back next Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and next week Z-Huge will be joining us.
Yeah,
talk about Z-Huge is going to be back. We always love having our boy Z-Huge on. Aside from that, if nobody has anything else, one more quick shout out to Mike. Thank you for joining us. Everybody, be sure to check out his podcast. It's Next Level Gaming. And we'll throw the link up in our YouTube channel, and Broken Games HD as well. Very, very popular on YouTube. I probably don't need to advertise you, but I'm going to do it anyway. Everybody go and check out his channel. BG, remind me, when is the Weapon Wheel podcast?
Saturday at 6 p.m. And this Saturday, we're actually going to have our first game developer on as a guest, so looking forward to it.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. That is fantastic, dude. I've tuned into the Weapon Wheel a few times. It's always a fucking riot. Good guys over there, and of course, Broken Games HD also does the monthly Gaming Assembly podcast, of which this podcast is very proud to be a part of. So, once again, thanks for everybody tuning in, and this has been episode 20 of the Super Deformed Gamecast, where we don't always agree, and it's not always poetry, but we always, always, always keep it real. So here from my fucking hotel room here, I won't be home for another 2 months. See you guys next week.
Peace.